Today we will discuss August 9th, 2024, secure synopsis. Okay, General Studies 1. The topic today we will discuss is tripartite struggle. Okay, first question. The tripartite struggle was a contest for supremacy in North India. Assess the causes and consequences of the tripartite struggle. Okay, key demand of this question is to assess the reasons behind the tripartite struggle for control over North India and to analyze its impact on the region's political landscape. Structure of the answer. Introduction. Introduce the tripartite struggle as a significant historical event that took place during the 8th to 10th century CE, along with mentioning its three contenders, Pratiharas, Palas, and Rashtrakutas. Okay, body. Firstly, mention the causes of the tripartite struggle, strategic importance of Kannauj, ambitions of the regional powers, the weakening of central authority following the decline of the Gupta Empire, economic motivations like the fertile plains of North India, along with control over trade routes. In the second part, write its consequences, such as political fragmentation, decline of Kannauj due to repeated invasions, rise of regional powers, cultural and economic impacts. In conclusion, conclude by noting how the tripartite struggle, despite its destructive nature, shaped the political and cultural landscape of early medieval India. Okay, introduction. The tripartite struggle was a prolonged and intense conflict for the control of the fertile and strategically significant region of Kannauj in North India. It involved three powerful dynasties, the Gurjara Prathiharas, the Rashtrakutas, and the Palas. Spanning nearly 2 centuries, 8th to 10th century CE, this struggle was emblematic of the broader contest for supremacy in North India during this period. Causes of the tripartite struggle. Causes of the tripartite struggle. First one is strategic importance of Kannauj. Kannauj, located in the heart of North India, was a city of immense strategic significance. Controlling Kannauj meant controlling the rich agricultural lands of the Ganga Yamuna Doab, a vital economic and trade center. Its location made it a hub for trade routes connecting North India with the rest of the subcontinent, making it a lucrative prize for any ruling dynasty. Second, power vacuum. The decline of the Gupta Empire and the subsequent Harsha Empire left a power vacuum in North India, creating an opportunity for regional powers to expand their influence. Third one is political ambition for supremacy. The struggle was fueled by the ambition of the three dynasties to establish their supremacy in North India. The Gurjara Prathiharas, under rulers like Nagabhatta II and Mihira Bhoja, sought to revive their power after the decline of the Valsayana dynasty, aiming to establish Kannauj as their capital. The Palas under Dharampala. The Palas under Dharampala were expanding westward from Bengal with similar aspirations. The Rashtrakutas, led by the Dhruva Dharavarsha and later Govinda III, sought to extend their influence from the Deccan into North India, making Kannauj as a key target. Fourth one is religious and cultural prestige. Kannauj was not just an economic and political center, it was also a significant religious and cultural hub. It was seen as the legitimate seat of power for ruling North India, with historical ties to ancient dynasties like the Guptas and Harshavardhana. Consequences of the tripartite struggle. First one is prolonged political instability. The tripartite struggle led to prolonged political instability in North India. The region witnessed frequent battles and shifting control among the three dynasties, preventing any single power from establishing a long-lasting and stable rule over Kannauj. This constant state of warfare weakened the regional powers, leaving North India vulnerable to external threats, including invasions from the northwest. Second is economic disruption. The incessant conflict caused significant economic disruption in the region. The Ganga Yamuna Doab, one of the most fertile areas in India, suffered due to the destruction of agricultural lands, disruption of trade routes, and heavy taxation imposed by the warring dynasties to fund their military campaigns. Third is cultural and religious patronage. Cultural and religious patronage. Despite the conflict, the period of the tripartite struggle also saw significant cultural and religious patronage, particularly from the Pratiharas and Palas. Example, the Pratiharas under rulers like Mihira Bhoja and Mahedrapala first patronized Hindu art and architecture, leading to the construction of grand temples such as the Gwalior Fort and the Dashavadara temple in Diogar. The Palas, on the other hand, were great patrons of Buddhism, supporting the construction of monasteries like the Somapura Mahavira in Bengal. Mahavihara in Bengal. Somapura Mahavihara in Bengal. Okay. Second, decline of the three dynasties. The protracted conflict ultimately led to the decline of all three dynasties involved. The Gurjara Pratiharas, who initially emerged as the strongest contenders, gradually weakened due to the constant warfare and internal strife. The Rashtrakutas, despite their initial successes, were unable to maintain their hold over North India and eventually faced decline due to revolts and internal power struggles. The Palas, though dominant in Bengal, could not sustain their influence in North India, and their power waned by the end of the 10th century. 3. Regional kingdom. The decline of these dynasties paved the way for new power to emerge, such as the Cholas in the south and Rajputs in the north India. It also left North India fragmented, contributing to the eventual success of Muslim invasions in the 11th and 12th centuries. Conclusion. Although no single power emerged as the absolute victor, the tripartite struggle left an indelible mark on Indian history, demonstrating the dynamic and competitive nature of medieval Indian politics and setting the stage for subsequent developments in the Indian subcontinent. Okay, next topic is post-Gupta age. Discuss the contributions of the Pallavas to literature, art, and architecture, and their role in the cultural and religious developments in South India. It's a 15-marker question. Okay, the key demand of this question is to explore the Pallavas' contributions to literature, art, and architecture, and to analyze their influence on the cultural and religious evolution of South India. Okay, introduction. Introduce the Pallavas as a significant South Indian dynasty that ruled from the 4th to 9th century CE. First mention the contributions of Pallavas to literature, like their patronage to Sanskrit and Tamil literature, their role in development of Grantha script. Similarly, mention their contribution towards development of art and architecture, early development of the Dravidian style of temple architecture, creation of large-scale stone sculptures, tradition of rock-cut temples in South India, etc. Next, discuss their role in cultural and religious development of South India, promotion such as promotion of Hinduism, support for Buddhism and Jainism, establishment of educational centers. Cite examples too. Okay. In conclusion, conclude by acknowledging the Pallavas as pioneers in many fields, whose legacy continues to be celebrated in South Indian history and culture. Introduction. The Pallavas, who ruled parts of South India from 4th to 9th centuries CE, were instrumental in shaping the cultural, religious, and architectural landscape of the region. They were patrons of art, literature, and religion, and their contributions laid the foundation for many aspects of South Indian culture that continue to resonate even today. Contributions of the Pallavas to literature, art, and architecture. Okay, literature, Sanskrit literature. Sanskrit literature, the Pallavas were great patrons of Sanskrit literature. They encouraged the composition of kavyas, poetic works, and prasastis, eulogies. Okay, example, court poets like Dandin, who authored the famous work Dasha Kumara Charita, thrived under Pallava patronage. Second is Tamil literature. Although Sanskrit was the court language, the Pallavas also supported Tamil literature. The period saw the development of devotional literature in Tamil, particularly the works of Nayanmars and Alvars. Example, the Pallava king Nandi Varman II is known to have patronized the Vaishnava saint Tirumangai Alvar, who composed many hymns that are part of the Nalayira Divya Prabandham. Okay, third one is Grantha script. The Pallavas developed the Grantha script, which was used to write Sanskrit in Tamil Nadu. Okay, example, inscriptions at the Kailasanatha temple in Kanchipuram use the Grantha script to write Sanskrit. Fourth one is art and sculpture. Sculpture. The Pallava kings, particularly Mahendra Varman I and Narasimha Varman I, were instrumental in the creation of iconic sculptures. Example, the famous Descent of the Ganges or Arjuna's Penance relief at Mahabalipuram. Second, painting. Okay. While few examples survive, the Pallava period saw advancements in the art of painting, as evidenced by the fragmentary murals at Kanchipuram. Architecture, rock cut architecture. The Pallavas are renowned for their contributions to South Indian sculpture. They initiated the tradition of rock cut architecture, which would later be perfected by the Cholas and other dynasties. Example, Mandagapattu Cave Temple, Mandagapattu Cave Temple, and Mahendravadi Cave Temple. Okay, structural temples. The Pallavas made pioneering contributions to temple architecture, particularly with the development of the Dravidian style. Their architectural innovations laid the groundwork for South Indian temple architecture, which would reach its zenith under the Cholas. Example, Kailasanatha Temple in Kanjipuram, built by Narasimha Varman II. The Kailasanatha Temple in Kanjipuram, built by Narasimha Varman II. Rajasimha, okay, also known as Rajasimha. Rathas, the Pancharathas at Mahabalipuram showcase different styles of South Indian temple architecture in monolithic form. Example, the Dharmaraja Ratha showcases the early development of the Gopuram, gateway tower style, Gopuram style, okay, which would later become a defining feature of South Indian temples. Okay, role of Pallavas in cultural and religious developments. Okay, temple culture. The Pallavas established the temple as a central institution in South Indian society, influencing social, economic, and cultural life. The Shore Temple complex at Mahabalipuram, which became a center for religious, cultural, and economic activities. Performing arts. The Pallavas patronized classical dance and music, contributing to the development of these art forms. Example, sculptures at Mahabalipuram depicting various dance poses. Third is cultural exchange. The Pallavas had a significant influence on the spread of Indian culture beyond the subcontinent. Their maritime connections facilitated the dissemination of Indian art, architecture, and religious ideas to Southeast Asia. Example, the influence of Pallava architecture is evident in the temples of Angkor Wat in Cambodia, temples of Angkor Wat in Cambodia, and the Borobudur in Indonesia. The influence of Pallava architecture is evident in the temples of Angkor Wat in Cambodia and Borobudur in Indonesia. For this, promotion of Hinduism. The Pallavas played a pivotal role in promoting and spreading Hinduism in South India. They were staunch supporters of Shaivism, as evidenced by their patronage of temples dedicated to Lord Shiva, like the Kailasanath temple in Kanchipuram. However, they also supported Vaishnavism with several temples dedicated to Vishnu, such as the Vaikunta Perumal temple in Kanchipuram, highlighting the religious pluralism of their reign. Fifth one is Bhakti movement. The Pallavas were instrumental in the growth of the Bhakti movement in South India. The Tamil Shaiva and Vaishnava saints who composed hymns in praise of Shiva and Vishnu found a welcoming environment under Pallava rule. Example, the saint Appar, one of the most revered Nayanars, received the support of Mahendra Varman I, which allowed him to propagate Shaivism across Tamil Nadu. Sixth one is religious syncretism. They promoted a syncretic approach, supporting various sects, including Buddhism and Jainism, although Hinduism remained dominant. Example, the Trimurti cave temple at Mahabalipuram, which houses shrines to Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, demonstrating religious inclusivity. Conclusion. Their contributions in literature, art, and architecture laid the foundation for many of the cultural traditions that continue to define South Indian identity today. The dynasty's legacy is evident in the magnificent monuments they left behind and in the enduring cultural practices they helped establish. General studies 2. Topic is the Indian Constitution, welfare schemes for vulnerable sections. Okay, question 3. Explain the constitutional provisions for scheduled tribes in India, analyze their effectiveness in addressing the socio-economic challenges and overall development of the scheduled tribes. Okay, Why this question? Tribal community living in Aray Forest has been denied permission to hold World Tribals Day celebrations this year. Key demand of this question is to explain the constitutional provisions for scheduled tribes, STs, in India and analyze their effectiveness in addressing socio-economic challenges and promoting overall development. Directive: explain the constitutional provision and analyze. Write both and positive outcomes and challenges in development of scheduled tribes. Okay, introduction. Briefly outline the status of scheduled tribes, STs in India, and the need for special provisions. First part, constitutional provisions for scheduled tribes. Article 46, Article 338A, 5th schedule, 6th schedule. Okay. Second part, effectiveness in addressing socio-economic challenges, such as positive impacts like enhanced representation, autonomy, and financial support. Okay. Third part, we should write the challenges, such as implementation gaps, socio-economic marginalization, displacement due to development. In conclusion, conclude with the need for improved implementation and monitoring to ensure development and well-being of scheduled tribes. Okay, introduction. The Indian Constitution does not specifically define the term tribe. However, Article 342I introduced the concept of scheduled tribe into the Constitution. Which article? Article 342. Okay, this article authorizes the president to identify tribes or tribal communities or parts thereof through a public notification, which are then recognized as scheduled tribes for constitutional purposes. Okay, constitutional provisions for scheduled tribes in India. Which are they? The 5th schedule mandates the establishment of a tribes advisory council in states with scheduled areas. Second is Article 15 allows special provisions for the advancement of other backward classes, including scheduled tribes, STs. Article 29 protects the interest of cultural minorities, including STs. Article 46 directs the state to promote the educational and economic interests of weaker sections, particularly scheduled tribes, SCs and STs, scheduled tribes, and safeguard them from social injustice and exploitation. Article 350 ensures the right to conserve distinct languages, scripts, or cultures. Article 330 provides for the reservation of seats for STs in the Lok Sabha. Article 332 provides for the reservation of seats for STs in state legislatures. Article 243 provides for the reservation of seats in panchayats. Article 275 allocates special funds from the union government to the state government to promote the welfare of scheduled tribes and improve administration. Okay, effectiveness of the constitutional measures. Issues faced by tribals in India. First one is exploitation of natural resources. Government policies favor economic growth through resource extraction, conflicting with traditional tribal resource use. Second is forced displacement. Large development projects often displace tribal communities. Displaced tribes frequently face challenges in finding adequate rehabilitation. Third, health and socio-economic issues. Poor health conditions, including shorter life expectancy and higher disease rates like sickle cell anemia affect many tribal communities. Fourth one is impact of globalization. Globalization exacerbates social exclusion and vulnerability, leading to movements for greater autonomy. Fifth one is threats to culture and habitat. Development projects and immigrant laborers threaten tribal cultures and habitats. Suggested measures to enhance effectiveness. First one is social and cultural preservation. Protect and promote the unique cultural heritage of tribal communities. Second is community empowerment. Involve tribal communities in decision making and support their traditional governance systems. Third is awareness and sensitization. Educate officials and the public to raise awareness about the unique issues faced by tribal communities. Fourth one is protection of isolated tribes. Implement the eyes on hands off policy to safeguard isolated tribes and their habitats. Fifth one is legal protection. Prioritize the implementation of the Forest Rights Act to secure tribal land rights. Sixth one is rehabilitation and compensation. provide fair compensation and adequate housing for displaced tribal communities, and ensure sustainable livelihood opportunities. Seventh one is education and healthcare. Enhance access to quality education and healthcare services in tribal areas. Build schools and healthcare centers to improve community well-being. Okay. Pradhan Mantri Janjati Adivasi Nyaya Mahabhiyan. Pradhan Mantri Janjati Adivasi Nyaya Mahabhiyan. A visionary initiative toward tribal welfare. Okay. Sabka Pukka Gar. Har Gar Nal Se Jal. गावों गावों तक सड़क हर घर बिजली शिक्षा के लिए हॉस्टल कौशल विकास डोर दरस गोवन तक मोबाइल मेडिकल यूनिट सबको पोषण उन्नत आजीविका दूर दरस गावों तक मोबाइल नेटवर्क. Okay, conclusion. Tribal communities constituting around 8.6%, 8.6% of India's population face significant challenges. Addressing these through the outlined measures will help protect their rights and preserve their cultural heritage, ensuring they thrive and enjoy equal opportunities as other citizens. Okay, next topic is important aspects of governance. Question 4. Discuss the process of delimitation in India and highlight its significance within the Indian electoral system. It's a 10-marker question. Okay, why this question? Supreme Court held that the orders passed by the Delimitation Commission are not immune from judicial review. Key demands of this question. Discuss the process of delimitation in India and highlights its significance within the Indian electoral system. Directive word is discuss, mention the provisions, process, significance of the delimitation process. The introduction, define delimitation and its purpose in the electoral system. In body first part, process, explain the process of delimitation, such as formation of delimitation commission, procedure, implementation. Second part is significance, fair representation, reflects demographic changes, electoral integrity. In conclusion, summarize the importance of the delimitation process in maintaining a representative and effective electoral system. Okay, introduction. According to the Election Commission, the word delimitation is defined as the act or process of fixing limits or boundaries of territorial constituencies. According to Election Commission, the word delimitation is defined as the act or process of fixing limits or boundaries of territorial constituencies in a country or a province having a legislative body. What is delimitation? The process of redrawing boundaries of Lok Sabha and state assembly seats to represent changes in the population. The process of redrawing boundaries of Lok Sabha and state assembly seats to represent changes in the population. Okay, the main task of delimitation commission is redrawing the boundaries of the various assembly and Lok Sabha constituencies based on a recent census. Okay. In the process, the number of seats allocated to states in Lok Sabha or in the Legislative Assembly may also change. It also reserves assembly seats for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in accordance with the Constitution. Okay, process of delimitation. First is constitutional provisions. Article 82 empowers Parliament to readjust the allocation of seats in the Lok Sabha after every census. Article 170 empowers Parliament to readjust the allocation of seats in the legislative assemblies of states after every census. Second is Delimitation Commission formation. An independent, high-powered panel known as the Delimitation Commission is constituted by Parliament to carry out delimitation exercises. Legislative enactments. The Parliament has enacted Delimitation Commission Acts in 1952, 1962, 1972, and 2002 to facilitate this process. Data utilized. The current delimitation exercise is based on the 2001 census data under the provisions of the Delimitation Commission Act 2002. 3. Criteria for delimitation. Constituencies are delimited based on the latest census data. The primary criterion is the population size of each constituency with the aim of achieving roughly equal population representation. Fourth one is procedure. Preparation of proposals. The commission prepares draft proposals for constituency boundaries, considering factors like population density, geographic contiguity, and existing administrative boundaries. Public consultation. Draft proposals are made available for public scrutiny and objections. The Commission reviews these inputs before finalizing the boundaries. Final notification. The final recommendations are submitted to the President, who then notifies them for implementation. Significance of delimitation exercise within the Indian electoral system. First one is ensures fair representation. Delimitation helps in maintaining equitable representation of citizens in the legislative bodies by adjusting constituencies based on population changes. Second is population shifts. Addresses population shift. It accounts for population growth and migration, ensuring that each constituency remains representative of its current demographic. Third is improves electoral efficiency. By ensuring balanced constituencies, delimitation enhances the efficiency and fairness of elections, reducing disparities and potential malpractices. Fourth is strengthens democracy. Fair representation reinforces the democratic principle that every citizen's vote carries equal weight and contributing to the legitimacy of the electoral process. Conclusion. Delimitation is a crucial mechanism in India's electoral system, ensuring that electoral constituencies are balanced and representative of the current population. The upcoming delimitation exercise in 2026 should take into account the concerns of tribal areas, southern states in matter of allocation of seats. Okay. General Studies 3. The topic is Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development, and employment. Okay, what is monetary policy? Assess the Monetary Policy Committee (MPC) performance in fulfilling its mandate since the 2016 amendment to the RBI Act 1934. Okay, the Reserve Bank of India's Monetary Policy Committee (MPC) has kept the repo rate steady at 6.5% for the ninth consecutive time due to persistent food inflation. Key demand of this question is to write about the role of RBI, especially as the lender of the last resort. Okay. Introduction. Begin by defining the monetary policy. First, in brief, write in brief about the various components of monetary policy. Next, write about the Monetary Policy Committee, its aims and objectives. By citing statistics, write the success and limitation of MPC in controlling inflation and in creating conducive atmosphere for growth. In conclusion, conclude by writing a way forward to overcome the above mentioned limitations. Okay, introduction. The monetary policy directed by the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, aims to control inflation and support economic growth. Established after the 2016 amendment to the RBI Act 1934, the MPC has a clear mandate to maintain price stability while fostering conditions conducive to sustainable economic growth. Okay. Body. Mandate of the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC. Inflation targeting. The MPC's primary mandate is to maintain price stability, targeting an inflation rate of 4% with a tolerance band of plus or minus 2%. This is essential for sustaining long-term economic growth by ensuring the currency's purchasing power. Support for economic growth. While focusing on inflation control, the MPC also aims to support economic growth, ensuring that its monetary policy decisions do not stifle economic activity. For instance, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the MPC adopted an accommodative stance to stimulate growth. Okay, performance of the MPC since 2016. Inflation management successes. The MPC has largely succeeded in keeping inflation within its target range, particularly in its early years. However, recent challenges, including persistent food inflation, have tested its ability to maintain this control. Challenges: the RBI's decision to keep the repo rate steady at 6.5% for the ninth consecutive time reflects the MPC's struggle with stubborn food inflation, which has remained a significant contributor to overall retail inflation. Current scenario: despite maintaining the status quo, the RBI acknowledges the risk of food inflation derailing the disinflation path, which could force a re-evaluation of the monetary policy if the situation worsens. Support for economic growth successes: MPC has been instrumental in supporting economic recovery, particularly during crises such as the COVID-19 pandemic. By maintaining low interest rates, it has facilitated liquidity and supported growth. Example: the steady repo rate has developed stabilized lending rates, providing relief to borrowers by keeping EMIs for home and personal loans stable. Challenges: the balancing act between inflation control and growth has been delicate, with global uncertainties and domestic challenges like uneven monsoons impacting food prices. The MPC faces continuous pressure to adjust its policies to prevent overheating the economy. Current context: the possibility of a repo rate cut in December 2024, contingent on improved inflation conditions and no major shocks, highlights the MPC's cautious approach in supporting growth without exacerbating inflation. Communication and transparency successes: the MPC has improved transparency in monetary policy through regular communication of its decisions and the rationale behind them, enhancing public understanding and credibility. Challenges: however, there have been instances where market participants felt the MPC's guidance lacked clarity, particularly regarding future policy direction amidst evolving global and domestic conditions. Key challenges faced by the MPC: external shocks. Global events such as geopolitical tensions and potential US recession fears have added complexity to the MPC's task, particularly as these factors could influence domestic inflation and economic stability. Example: expectations of rates rate cuts by the US Federal Reserve could impact the rupee and require the RBI to align its policy with global trends to avoid significant deviations. Structural issues: structural problems including persistent food inflation due to structural problems including persistent food inflation due to factors like uneven monsoons have complicated the MPC's mandate, making it challenging to achieve both inflation control and growth. Conclusion: since 2016, the MPC has played a critical role in India's economic stability, effectively managing inflation while supporting growth. However, recent challenges like persistent food inflation and global uncertainties highlight the need for adaptive and cautious policy making to sustain long-term economic health. Okay, topic. Next topic is Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development, and employment. Okay, question 6. Differentiate between money bill and financial bill. Do you think the process of classifying a bill as money bill needs change? Analyze. Okay. Why this question? Lok Sabha passes finance bill, amends LTCG tax provision on immovable properties. Key demand of this question is the focus of the question is twofold. In the first part, we need to differentiate between a money bill and financial bill, along with the relevant constitutional provisions. Thereafter, we need to explain how a bill is classified as a money bill and whether the process needs change. The active word here is analyze. When asked to analyze, you have to examine methodically the structure or nature of the topic by separating it into component parts and present them as a whole in a summary. Okay, introduction. Explain what a money bill and financial bill is. Then in body, explain the differences between along with constitutional provisions. Next, discuss how a bill is classified as a money bill. Here, explain the provisions of Article 110, Noti 10, and the fact that the Speaker has discretion to classify a bill as money bill. Discuss the controversy around the classification of bill as a money bill, such as in the case of Aadhaar. Examine why it is important to correctly classify money bill, as otherwise it takes away from the authority of Rajya Sabha. Discuss what changes can be brought in. In conclusion, emphasize on the need for resolution and the view that SC might take. Okay, introduction. A money bill and financial bill, so both dealing with financial matters, differ significantly in terms of their scope, legislative procedure, and the role of Rajya Sabha. A money bill and a financial bill, though both dealing with financial matters, differ significantly in terms of their scope, legislative procedure, and the role of Rajya Sabha. This distinction is crucial to understand as it influences the legislative process and the checks and balances within the Indian Parliament. Okay, differences between money bill and financial bill. Feature money bill and financial bill. Okay, definition money bill deals exclusively with matters listed in Article 110 of the Constitution. Example, taxation, borrowing, Consolidated Fund of India. Financial bill definition deals with financial matters but may include other provisions not strictly related to the subjects listed in Article 110. Okay, Article Money Bill, Article 110. Financial Bill, Article 117, 117. Introduction. Money Bill can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha. Financial Bill can be introduced in the Lok Sabha but not in Rajya Sabha. Okay. Certification, money bill, certified by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha as a money bill. Financial bill, no certification as such by the Speaker is required. Rajya Sabha's role, money bill, can suggest recommendations, but the Lok Sabha may accept or reject them. Must return the bill within 14 days, after which it is deemed passed by both houses. Financial bill, the Rajya Sabha can suggest amendments and the Lok Sabha can accept or reject them. The Rajya Sabha must pass the bill for it to become law. Examples, money bill, bills dealing with the imposition of taxes, government borrowing or appropriation of funds. Okay. Financial bill, bills that involve financial matters but include broader provisions such as changes to existing laws along with financial aspects. Judicial review, money bill, Speaker's decision to classify a bill as a money bill is final and not subject to judicial review. Financial bill, no special provision. The classification is based on the content of the bills. Requirement of passage, money bill, requires simple majority in the Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha's role is limited to making recommendations. Requires simple majority in the Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha's role is limited to making recommendations. Financial bill requires a simple majority in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay, need for change in the classification process. Controversies. The classification of certain bills as money bills has led to significant controversy, particularly when they involve substantial non-financial provisions, such as the Aadhaar bill in 2016. Checks and balances. The current process, where the Speaker's decision is final and not subject to judicial review, potentially undermines the role of Rajya Sabha, limiting the upper house's ability to scrutinize important legislation. Recommendations for reform. There is a need for clear criteria to distinguish between money and financial bills to prevent the misuse of the money bill classification. Involving a broader committee or a review mechanism could provide additional oversight and prevent potential abuses of the classification process. Conclusion. While money bills and financial bills serve specific functions in the legislative process, the current mechanism for classifying a bill as money bill may require reconsideration. Introducing reforms to ensure a more transparent and accountable classification process could strengthen India's parliamentary democracy, ensuring that both houses of parliament have a meaningful role in scrutinizing significant financial legislation. Okay, general studies 4. Topic is corruption and value ethics. Even one egregious നമുക്കതിന്റെ ഉച്ചാരണം നോക്കാം. Egregious, extremely bad in a way that is very noticeable. Okay. egregious. Okay. Even one egregious violation of the rule can cast shade on the entire process. Do you agree with this statement? Justify your stand. It's a 10-mark question. Why this question? In what has emerged as the outlandish tale of Pooja Gedkar, the multiple methods by which she stepped outside the law would be fantastic if they had not been proven true. Introduction. Begin by giving a recent example of Pooja Gedkar or NTA scam. First, in body, first agree with the statement and explain how violation of one significant rule amounts to unethical practice. Then disagree with the statement on how to subjectively determine the violation of a rule. End with a balanced answer. Summarize by writing an ethical philosophy or quote. Okay. Introduction. In recent times, instances like the NTA scam in the NEET and the Pooja Gedkar case, where procedural violations led to widespread outcry, have highlighted the importance of strict adherence to rules and regulations. These cases have shown how even a single violation can erode trust in the entire system. Okay. The wheel of corruption. The wheel of corruption. Okay. Politician, vote, buying, citizen, higher quality prices or low quality public goods, higher prices or low quality public goods. Entrepreneur, bribes for contracts and licenses. Bureaucrat, bribes for transfers and postings. Bribes for transfers and postings. Okay, citizen, bribes for service delivery to bureaucrat. Okay, politician, by buying vote from citizen. Okay, so this is the wheel of corruption. Okay. Wheel of corruption. Let's take a screenshot. Okay. Violation of one rule cast a shadow on the entire process because undermines integrity. A single egregious violation can severely undermine the integrity of the entire process. Example, the NTA scam manipulated the examination process and the violation cast doubt on the fairness and reliability of the NEET. Public trust erosion. And public institutions rely on trust, and a significant breach, like Pooja Kedkar's case, where procedural lapses led to a miscarriage of justice. Where procedural lapses led to a miscarriage of justice can lead to widespread skepticism. Second is setting a dangerous precedent. Such violations, if not addressed promptly, can set a precedent that rules are flexible or can be bypassed. This can lead to further ethical breaches, making the entire system vulnerable to corruption and malpractice. Example: Chhattisgarh PCS scam. Impact on stakeholders. When a single rule is violated, the consequences often ripple out to affect a wide range of stakeholders. In the case of educational exams or legal procedures, students, citizens, and society at large are impacted. Example: delay in admission of medical students in the NEET exam. However, there are certain limitations such as subjectivity in rule violation. Subjectivity in rule violation. Not all violations are of the same magnitude. Minor infractions might not have a significant impact on the overall process. Example, a clerical error, though technically a violation, may not fundamentally undermine the integrity of the entire system. Next is context matters. A minor lapse in a non-critical area should not overshadow the overall fairness or efficiency of the process. Thus, it is essential to assess the severity and context of violation before casting judgment on the entire process. Example, delay in recruitment due to circular notification errors. Third is corrective mechanisms. Systems often have built-in corrective mechanisms to address and rectify violations. If a violation is identified and corrected transparently, it can restore confidence. Middle path, proportional response. While it is true that significant violations can cast a shadow over an entire process, it is important to respond proportionally. Not all violations should be seen as equally damaging. Second is ethical vigilance. Continuous vigilance, ethical training, and adherence to best practices are crucial in ensuring that even minor violations do not occur. In conclusion, in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, the means are as important as the ends. The means are as important as the ends. Ethical processes demand strict adherence to rules, as even a single violation can have far reaching consequences. However, it is equally important to maintain a balanced perspective, ensuring that responses to violations are fair, context driven, and aimed at upholding the overall integrity of the system. Okay, thank you for listening to me. We'll see you in next class. Thank you very much.